strive for academic success. Studying effectively is important because good study habits can help students to improve their understanding, reduce stress, and achieve better academic results. Today, we have 4 panelists who will share their perspective on this topic. My name is ATHIRAH Binti AHMAD, and I will be your moderator for today. To begin, let's move on to our first panelist on my right, which is a teacher. Is our teacher. Teachers plays an important role in guiding students toward effective learning. As a teacher, could you please share 3 effective study habits that students should practice in class?
Thank you to our moderator. My name is DALILAH binti NURHUDEN as a teacher in our discussion today. As a teacher, I firmly believe that success begins right inside the classroom. First of all, students must have active participation in class. True learning is not just sitting and listening. I always encourage my students to stay focused, answer questions, and join the discussion in our classes. It will help them to improve their ability, retain, and understand what the topic we just learned. Moving on to the second habit, which is taking organized notes. I often see students trying to copy every single word from the whiteboard, but this is not effective. Instead, students should highlight key points and draw a simple mind map. It will help them focus during my class and improve their learning and their revision more when exam approach. For the last one is asking questions when unsure. Many students stay silent in the class because they are afraid and embrace to speak up. But as a teacher, we want to hear those questions. It's always better to ask questions immediately in right class, better than if they are confused during the exam. That's all for me. I pass back to the moderator.
Alright, thank you for the insightful sharing from our teacher. We know that with the teacher's perspective, that students must stay focused and not just sit and listen and join the discussion in class, take effective notes for their exams, and make a question and answer in the class instead of just hang with curiosity. Now moving on to panel number 2, we have panelist number 2 here representing parents. Now, parents are also important in supporting the children's education. Now, panelist number 2, can you please share how parents can help their children in achieve academic success?
Okay, thank you, moderator. Before I start my role, I will introduce myself. My name is HAZIQAH binti Abu AZAM. I'm as a panel 2 and my role is as a parent. So before I start about my role, I want to agree with the statement the panel 1 gives, that you say students have to taking organized notes. By taking the organized note, it can help the student to more memorize what they're taking and not get confused when the exam starts. So after this, I will continue my role. There's have 3 ways that parents can help students to achieve their academic success. The first one is to create a quiet and conducive study space, because at home students can't focus if TV is flashing or their room is messy, right? So parents need to set up a specific corner to them to study. The corner has to be quiet, comfortable, and free for distractions, because a good environment equals to a good focus. Second one is encourage a good management. In university and school life, student can get overwhelming, and student also love to procrastinate. So as a parent, we can guide them to plan a daily routine to make sure they have a healthy balance between study times, doing assignments, and getting enough rest. So the last one is keep in touch with teacher and provide emotional support. As a parent, we don't just have to wait for the report card day. We can also drop a message to teacher to know how our child do at school or at university. Because when parents can be their safe place, students feel more emotionally support and they can more perform better in school. That's all from me. I will just
Alright, thank you for our panelists too as our parent representative. As what the perspective of the parents say, that provide comfortable space and help students plan their time together, and also stay in touch with teachers and stay updated to how well this student is behaving in class or in school would help this to achieve students' academic success. Now, moving on to our third panelist here, we have our counselor here. We all know that many students experience stress while studying. So, as a counselor, it is important for us to know how to manage the stress properly. So, Panelist 3, could you share some ways the students can manage study stress effectively?
Okay, thank you to our moderator. So my name is FATHINAH binti IZWAN, and I as a counselor. First of all, I am sorry, but I disagree with your opinion about the issue of procrastination among students. From a counselor perspective, students usually procrastinate not because they lack a routine, but because they are paralyzed by study stress and the fear of failure. I often see students struggling and overwhelmed, not because they don't want to study, but because they don't know how to handle the pressure. Stress is a silent killer of academic success, and knowing how to manage study stress is absolutely crucial. First of all, to manage stress effectively, students must maintain a balanced schedule. Students cannot study for 10 hours straight without burning out. In my opinion, I highly recommend using the Pomodoro technique, like study for 25 minutes and take a short 5-minute break. Balancing your time between classes, self-study and personal hobbies keep your mind fresh. Moving on to my next point, adequate rest is completely non-negligible. Many students pull all-nighters right before exams, but when you lack sleep, your concentration drops drastically and your anxiety levels go up. Our brain need at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep to process and store what we have learned during the day. So please never sacrifice your sleep for last minute study. Lastly, it is important to build a positive mindset. It's my pleasure to tell you about how shifting our perspective change everything. Instead of stressing over being perfect, focus on just doing your best. Replace negative self-talk like I'm going to fail with positive mindset. I am prepared and I can do this. Remember, your grades do not define your entire worth as a person. To sum up, academic success is not just about studying hard. It is about studying smart while taking care of your mental health. So that's all for me. Thank you. Back to moderator.
Alright. Thank you, panelist 3, for our present concealer. Now, when we already discussed, as a concealer said, that we realize that not all students are lazy. Some of them, or most of them, just don't know how to handle the stress or the emotions. And as what concealer said, it's a silent killer in within the students itself. And I could say that academic success requires not only to work hard, but also effective stress management and a good mental well-being could help to strive academic success. Now, finally, we have our fourth panelist, students here with us, and many students are interested in learning the secret behind academic success. Could you share some tips to achieve good academic result?
Okay, thank you to the moderator. Okay, before I start, I will introduce myself. My name is NURHUDEN BINTI and I'm playing a role as a student. Based on point 3 that talks about how to manage study stress, I agree with the point about maintaining a balanced schedule to manage stress effectively. The reason is that when students study for a long time, continuous hours without breaks, their brain becomes mentally exhausted without reduces concentration and memory retention. This often leads to inefficient learning, even if a lot of time is spent studying. By using methods like the Pomodoro technique and balancing study time with the rest and hobbies, students can improve focus, reduce burnout, and retain information better. Therefore, a balanced schedule is essential for both academic performance and mental well-being. So back to my role as a student, I would like to share some tips for achieving good results. The first is, as a student, we need to set our own goals so that we can see our direction clearly and do our preparation properly. For example, if we're planning to get best result in our exam, such as conflict in our exam to student university, so it will motivate us to do greatly and hardly in our lesson. If we can afford it, so we will work hard until we can achieve it. The second is stay consistent. Consistent is the most important thing and achieve something. But it's not only in academic, but for students, it helps us to build strong study habits and improve understanding over time. For example, students can study at least 30 minutes every day instead of studying last minute in a few hours before exam, so we can understand lesson better and improve our memory retention. And the last one is seek help when needed. If we have been confusing in some question or understanding some subject or not understanding some subject, we can ask our friends or teacher or maybe our family to solve it, so it can help us to solve the question and avoid misunderstanding. So that's all from
Alright. Thank you for our panelists for as students for sharing your experience and advice. Now we know that as a students to set goals and being consistent and also seeking for help, essential habit that can help all of the students to achieve or to try for better academic result. Now, before we move on, as a panelist one, as a teacher, do you have anything to say with what the points that have been given by the students?
Thank you, moderator. I totally agree with the student point on seeking help because there is no student can success alone. When they are brave enough to ask teachers and friends when they are confused about whatever their word. So this will cheer up their misunderstanding. So asking question is the fastest way to them learn. Okay, that's all for me.
Alright, thank you. As we have heard of our panelists' opinions on this, we have come to the end for our round 1 in our discussion. Now moving on to our round 2, we will now discuss about who or what is the important role that would affect all of the students' study habits for academic success. Now, to start this discussion, I would like our counselor, our panel 3, to start our round 2.
Okay, that is exactly how I see it. I completely agree that the students is the most important role in our discussion. As a counselor, I believe that real success comes from within the student. Teachers can teach and parents can support. But if the student doesn't set a goal and stay consistent, they will never achieve a good result. Students know when to study, when to rest, and they are not afraid to seek help when they need it. This internal discipline is what eliminates stress and leads to academic success. Therefore, I am with you regarding this.
Okay, after hear your point about student play the most important roles, I think I'm not agree with your opinions, because for me, I still think the parents' roles is the most important because everything starts from home. Can you guys think that students spend most of their time at home and not at school? If the home environment is stressful, they can even focus on studying. So parents are definitely a backbone of their success.
Okay, I understand your point, but I am sorry, but I disagree with your opinion. I see many students who succeed even without perfect parental support. At the end of the day, it is the student's habit, like setting goals and staying consistent, that truly determine their success. Parents can only do so much, but the final effort comes from the students.
So we already heard panel 2 and panel 3 discuss about their opinion about this. But what about panel 1? What do you think about who would play the important role here?
Okay, for me, I strongly agree with panel 3 point from the student perspective. As a teacher, consistency is the key to surviving any course, because studying for just 30 minutes every day is better than cramming the night before the exam. It can reduce stress and it can give them time to ask questions before coming to an exam. This is very practical habit for every student. This all for me.
Do you have any for parents? Do you have anything to say there?
Yes, I want to add something too. I see your point, panel 1, and I totally get why consistency matters. But I have to respectfully disagree that it's purely up to the students. How can a student stay consistent and study for 30 minutes every day if they don't have a quiet space at home? If the house is too noisy, or if parents keep asking them to do a chaos at home during their study times, the consistency will break, right? So that's why I think parents still play the ultimate role here, because we are the ones who protect and maintain the environment for them. That's all for me.
Anything to say?
Right, for me, I will disagree with your point. Because
Yes, panel 1, can we talk louder to say what would you say to panel 2 regarding this? Can we speak louder?
alright, limit because when we ask our children to do the chorus of home, because we know that sometimes they need some times alone to do their homework at home. So as parents, we need to understand what time can we ask them to do the chorus and what time they need the time alone for them to do their homework.
Right. So for now, we could see that some agree or some don't agree that students itself play the most important role. But should we hear about this opinion from a student herself? What do you think about this?
In my opinion, I strongly believe that students play a very important role in their own academic success because they are ultimately responsible for their own learning. Even though teachers provide guidance, notes, and explanations, students are the ones who take action to study, revise, and complete their tasks. This means that success in education does not depend only the teacher, but also on how much effort the student put in. So, responsibility is important because it encourages students to become independent learners who are committed to their own success.
Right. So before we end our discussion, then I don't have anything to say. No. Okay. So as the ending for the student itself, we have come to the end of our discussion, and we could conclude that majority of us here, our panelists here, agree that student herself or student themselves as a whole are important, or we could say an important role for them to achieve that student success. Now, for today's discussion, we have learned a lot from a lot of different perspectives with our teachers, counselor, parents, and student itself. We have learned that it comes from effective studies and receiving support from everyone and seeking help, manage stress positively, and also stay disciplined and consistent in our studies. And with this discussion, I hope that everyone here has gained useful knowledge that can be applied in our daily life. Now, thank you for all our panelists, and thank you everyone for listening. Have a great day.